Hello guys, welcome to our coding question tutorial from the Accenture and multiple MNCs companies placement drive. So in a last video tutorial we guys have seen how we can solve that Accenture coding question, that is what sum of digit. So today also we guys are going to solve one more Accenture question, and this kind of things like you will be get it in our YouTube channel. So if you haven't subscribed yet, so please do subscription, so that once the video will be get uploaded, you will get that notification and you can able to evaluate these kind of questions right there. So coming back to this, today we guys are going to solve one more question those have asked in last of Accenture. This same question have been asked in TCS NQT and Ninja both, and at the same time this question asked in the Capgemini 2020 Drive 2. The question for this coding question, or the name for this coding question, is numbers. Well, this question comes under the level 2, where you just need to be required some logics, and if you know some syntax of list or array, you guys can able to evaluate easily. So let us check what is this question's exactly meaning so far. So in the problem statement they have mentioned we are given a function and the name of function is product array. This function is having the array as a arguments, and it mentioned here the function accept an integer array of the length n, and we have to implement the function to modify the given array such that the value at each index is replaced with the product of all integers of the array except for the integer on that index. Okay, so which means we have to replace that current value of array in such a way that it must be the product of all remaining array elements right there. And there are some assumptions, or we can say some notes they have given, as the array index must be start from 0, that everyone knows, which is a default there in a condition. Again, the n must be greater than 0, which means the size of the array must be greater than 1, which means there are two elements must be there occurs in the array for the given test cases. Again, they have mentioned each product operation is within the integer range, which means if I am creating the array, I should not go for long integer or a short integer. It will lies in the integer range, so I can create an integer as a data type and I can able to work there for the array elements. And again, the note, the input and output arrays are of the same length, which means the array that I am going to form in my result which belongs to the same length of the array which we are passing to that function. Now let us understood this logic. In the logic they have mentioned we have to modify the array in such a way that it replaces, okay, value at each index is replaced with the product of all integers of the array except for the integer on that current index. Let us check with the given input and output how does it is going to be appears as per the logic. So when it is coming to the logic right here, so you guys can see we have the elements 2, 3, 7 and 5. Well, at this index what must be the product? The product must be expect this integer, which means 3 multiplied by 7 multiplied by 5, and that answer is what? 105. So the new array element is going to form at the 0th index as a 105. Well, at this index what must be the answer? At this index the answer is 2 multiplied by 7 multiplied by 5. We are not considering that respective current index value from the array. So the result is must be what? 70. Again, for this 7 the product will be what? 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 5, and that results into what? 30. Okay, so it must be what? 30. And for the 5 the product must be what? 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 7, and that result must be what? 42. So this array we are going to form in a function, and we are going to return that array from the functions right there. So as far as the logic concern, yes, we are considering this logic to solve this question, and some of the request in my channel is also coming to you please try to solve the questions in Python programming and also in a Java programming. So today for this question we guys are going to check what must be the Python code for this question and what must be the Java code for this question. So let us first try to work on a Python and then we will see what must be the Java code for the same questions right there. So let us get back here. So to implement the same logic in the Python programming, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a Python code. So let me open the IDLE here. So again, in the same approach, we guys are going to create a new file. So let me create a new file and we have to implement a function. So let us do that one too. So the name of function is def product array. Let me check, is the name same or different? So the name of function, yeah, product array, and having that array as an argument. Okay, we will write that code later. Then I have to create an input skeleton. Input skeleton must be, first we are going to input the value of n, that is integer of input, and I'm going to read the array which is in the format of a list. So list of map of integer input with the split, because the values are separated by the spaces. And then I'm going to pass these values to the product array, and from the product array one more array we are going to be receiving with. So for this I'm going to create a result variable here. So result equals to product array, and we are passing this array right there. So whatever the result array those are receiving by this function, we are going to store it to the result, and then we will print that value separated by the spaces. And to make that done in a Python, I'm going to use the dynamic for loop. So for element in result, and I'm going to print the element separated by the space, so end by the space. So this is the input skeleton. Let us first save the code. Okay, I'm going to say product array Accenture code, right? So let us write the logic as we have received. So current element we are not going to be considered, and I'm going to form the product of all remaining array and store it to the current index. So to return that array, one more result I'm going to create that belongs to the list variable, and in this indices I'm going to store the product of all array elements. So let us check with that. So here to be works with that, I required the value of I to iterate over all the elements. So I'm going to say for I in the range of the array, right? And one more for loop I required to form their products. Now to form the products, again range of length of array, it should not be the just range of array, it must be the length of array right there. So again one more for j in the range of length of array. So if you don't know how to evaluate this for loop, I will suggest you to check our Python tutorial, and there in a for loop you guys can see how does it will work. So by default this loop is going to start with 0 till to the length of array, and this one is also going to start with 0 and ends at the length of array. So to form the product, I'm going to create a variable of product and set it initialize equals to 1. Now the question is why it needs to be set it equals to 1, because as I have to store the product right there, which means multiplication calculation, and any number multiplied by 1 doesn't change in the answer. So I'm going to save it to the equals to 1. In the last logic we guys have seen, to calculate the sum we are going to store that element equals to 0, where if any certain elements is going to add it to the 0 value, that doesn't change the answer. So depends on the operation that we guys are going to be works with, we have to initialize their values either equals to 1 or to the 0. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is to calculate the product, but I am not going to product the value with the current element. So for this I'm going to say, okay, if my value of I and the value of j, which means if both indices are same, then I'm not performing with the task. So I'm going to say continue. Else, what I'm going to do here, so in a else block, I'm going to say product multiplied equals to that array of j, because here the j index is responsible to iterate over all remaining element except the current element of I. So this is how we can able to evaluate the product of all array element except the current element. Then next to that, after completion of finding out the products, after closing of this for loop, I'm going to append the same product to my result array. Then using the for loop, I can able to evaluate with this, I can able to form the result array or a list, and then after completion of this parent for loop, we are going to return that result. Now before the execution, let us check what exactly is going to be happen there and how the values are going to be changes. So for this, I'm going to take the same input there in a problem statement. What is the input? Let us check with that. The input is 2357. So let us take the same input here. So let us imagine, so while creating this array, I have provided the length as a 4 and the elements right there is 2, 3, 7, 5. Well, this list is going to pass it to the functions of product array. So the array right now becomes as 2, 3, 7, 5. So the result array without any elements are going to be created first. So for I in the length of array, so length of array is what? 4. So 0 to 4, which means it is going to perform the iteration of 0, 1, 2 and 3. And similar by this again 0 to 4, it will also perform the iteration of 0, 1, 2, 3. So at very initially when the value of I is 0, that is what at the current position, so it is going to set product equals to 1, and this one also is going to set the value of j equals to 0. Well, this is a nested for, so until and unless all iteration of this nested for will not perform, the value of I will be not increment by the +1, which means for every single value of I, all the j iteration has to be executes, right? So it is going to check I equals to j. Yes, I is also 0 and j is also 0, so it will say continue. So that means product value does not change. Well, when the j will be become +1, so it is, this condition is going to be false. So if this condition false, it is going to run the else block, and in the else block it is going to say product multiplied equals to array of j, which means the array of j is, the value of j is 1, so array of 1 is 3, so 1 multiplied by 3, it is going to form 3. Again it is going to provide j plus plus, so the value of j becomes as a 2. So again when the j is equals to 2, this condition becomes false and it will going to execute the else block. So already the product value is 3 and 3 multiplied by 7, it becomes what? 21. Again similar like this, we guys are going to perform the next iteration. Well, in a next iteration the value of j becomes as a 3, so again this condition becomes false and the product is going to form as 21 multiplied by 5. 21 multiplied by 5, let us calculate that. So 21 multiplied by 5, so you guys can see it is going to form 105. So that product is going to created here 105, and this for loop will be end, and at the result of 0, 105 is going to be added, and that is what the absolute result also. Okay, you guys can see here. So that is what the result in the 0th index. So let me just scroll it down so that you can get an idea. Yeah, here it is. So you guys can see that 105 is going to be created, and likewise the rest of values 70, 30 and 42 is also getting created. So let us check how does it is going to be work. So I am going to compile the code first. So let us compile the code. So I am going to save it. So the value of n is what? 4, and the elements here is 2, 3, 7, 5, and let us check the result. So result is 105, 70, 30, 42. Let us cross confirm. Yes, we are getting the same result. Now let us compile it for the second test case also, where the length is 3 and the array element is 4, 6, 5. Okay, I'm going to recompile them. Okay, so length is 3, array element is 4, 6, 5, and the result is what? 30, 20, 24. Let us check with the result. Yes, we are receiving with the same results right there. And this is how we guys can able to resolve this code using the Python language. Now, if the same code I wanted to convert into the Java, well, in that case, what I'm going to do, let us try to solve the Java code also. For the Java, I'm going to write a code in Visual Studio Code right there. So let me open the Visual Studio Code. And here I have some files included. Let me open some Java files. Okay, I guess I have some Java files in E drive. So here in Java programs, this folder I'm going to be opening code. So I'm going to say .code. Okay, code dot. So let's open in Visual Studio Code. And here I'm going to get the new file. Right. So it is what is okay, product array dot Java. In a product array of Java, we have to be a public class with same product array and the main method, that is public static void arguments. And as per the inputting, so all inputting needs to be done here. Okay, and the value of the user, I would like to import these candidates. And from the array, let's get more efficient to all the product array. Well, already class I got created as a name of product array, so I can't use the same name as a method, but I will do here is I'm passing the array here. So this is going to say the array elements, and we are going to print all array values. So let's print that all array values. So I'm going to say for j equals to 0, j is the result dot whatever that result, well, it must be the, and you can use the n or also, that doesn't matter, j plus, and inside this I'm going to print right. Now let's try to work this again. We are going to apply the same logic. Now to work with that, I require I and j. At the same time, what I really required for is the result array with the same length. So I'm going to say I'm going to create the result array. Let us say result equals to new length. Right? So as per the process, okay, I'm going to return the same results right there. So that to be overcome with that logics, I have just written the return statement. Now again the same for loop we guys are going to write, a nested for loop. So first for loop is what? I equals to 0, I is less than length, and I plus plus. These nested for loop is also belongs to the j equals to 0, j is less than length, and j plus plus. Well, again one variable I need to be created here, that is what? Integer product equals to 1 as per the same that we guys have did. So here if that value of I and j equals to same, then I am going to say continue. Else what I am going to do, I am going to form the product equals to multiply equals to that array of, same logic we guys have applied, just we converted to the Java syntax. And after completion of this for loop, I am going to say the result of I, so that it followed the current index, and the current index right there is what? I equals to product, right? So this is how we are forming that product, and we are returning the same. Now let us apply the same code here, and let us try to run with the same thing. Now to run with that, I am going to save the code and let us run the code. So I'm going to say here. Okay, so I have to do some access, and here the Java code is running. So I have to provide the inputs. So inputs are, let's check what are the inputs. So first, second test cases I will run first, that is 3 and 4, 6, 5. So first input is 3, 4, 6, 5. If you guys haven't seen there, it's better I will go to command prompt, that will be nice. So already I am here. Let me clear the screen. So Java C product array.java successfully compiled, no error, and product array. So the inputs are first length is what? 3, array elements are 4, 6, 5, and the output is 30, 20, 24, which was the same. Now let us provide the inputs for the first test cases, and I guess the first test cases is 2, 3, 7, 5. So it is what? 2, 3, 7, 5, and this is the input. Again the output returns with the same value. So this must be the complete Java code that you guys are looking for. First, and we have implemented a function. If you guys can see, the Python and Java code depends on syntax only. We have tried to do that changes. So if what my suggestion is into this is, as you guys are checking the code in YouTube channel in a Python programming, well, you can try to convert in Java if you well known about the Java. Okay, so if you try to convert, if you facing any difficulty right there, post there in a comment section. Definitely we will help you out to try to understand what will be the solution for the same. So for this question, this is the Java solution and this must be the Python solution. So if you guys have understood something from the video, please give us the thumbs up. That will be best motivation for us to create all this content for you guys, a premium content at a free level. And do share to the needful people. Do subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned for the next video tutorial. Thanks for watching this video.